What's up, basketball fans? Harrison Graham from Chat Sports, and on today's episode of NBA Now, we're going to get you guys caught up on the latest around Damian Lillard and James Harden, and we're kind of in this mode of the offseason where we're 2 weeks or so into free agency. The NBA is kind of at a standstill. The notable free agents that aren't left, I think, are waiting to see what happens with Dame, what happens with Harden. Will they get traded? When will they get traded? I think we're kind of at a standstill as the trade market has kind of taken control here, but with no action in recent days. But let's get you caught up on the latest around each of these players. Here's Damian Lillard. The Blazers are in no rush to trade Dame if the right deal isn't out there for them. And look, Joe Cronin's made it clear that this could take months. Those are his words, the Blazers general manager. So they are not going to force the issue here when it comes to Damian Lillard. Here's Zach Lowe of ESPN. He says the buzz going around Vegas is that they are not entirely bluffing when they say if he's on our team in training camp, he's on our team in training camp. We're okay with that. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but that's certainly what they're signaling, and clearly there's been no progress at all to speak of with the deal with the Heat. Are teams hesitant to trade for Dame? I mean, look, I think when a player requests a trade like this, it's complicated, right? He's been with Portland for over a decade. He's an aging player, so gauging how much he's worth is something to figure out. His contract is tough, so there's not going to be a ton of teams to begin with that are super interested. And especially when you add in the wrinkle that Damian Lillard has made it loud and clear that he wants to go to one team and one team only, the Miami Heat. And while the Heat could construct some good offers, there's teams out there that can offer better. So I think Portland's kind of in this mode of, hey, like, we want to get the best offer possible. We're not just going to give you to the Miami Heat. Here's another quote from Chris Mannix of SI. He says, he's getting up there in age, like I said, with a lot of years and a lot of money left on that deal. If you're a team that's acquiring him, you know you're getting a great offensive player, but what kind of defensive player are you getting? If you bring Lillard into the mix, what does he do to your defensive identity if you're Boston or if you are Philadelphia? Now, I'll just quickly address those two. If it's Philadelphia and it's some sort of Harden swap where Harden goes to a third team, I don't think much changes. I don't think going from Harden to Lillard is like a downgrade defensively, and I actually think it's an upgrade offensively, at least from a scoring output. So I think it wouldn't change their defensive identity per se. Boston, it definitely would, especially if Jaylen Brown was in that trade, which you almost feel like it would have to be to get him to Boston. There are deals that could happen where Dame ends up as a Celtic that doesn't include Jaylen Brown. It just becomes a lot more difficult. We know how special Dame is as an offensive player, but when he only wants to go to one team and when that one team doesn't have a first-round pick until 2028, things get a little complicated. Will Damian Lillard be on Portland's opening night roster? What do you guys think about that? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I still think he gets traded. I think it'll drag on for a bit. I bet we get into the month of August, but I think by the time training camps roll around, Dame is wearing a new jersey, and that jersey will probably say Heat on the front of it. Now, guys, we have NBA coverage all year long and all off-season long. This is when we really have a ton of content. So hit that subscribe button right now here at Chat Sports. Don't miss out. Latest updates, news, rumors, trade buzz. We dropped our post-week one of free agency power rankings this past weekend, so go check that out as well. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Help us grow this channel on a daily basis. So we go from Damian Lillard to James Harden now. Ramona Shelburne having an update there saying, I don't think they're close to anything. There's been kind of lingering reports recently of it's more and more likely that he could return to the Philadelphia 76ers. Here's what Shelburne had to say. She said, quote, James Harden has spoken to Daryl Morey since the first trade request, and I think there was a cooling off period. They've spoken again, and Harden still reiterated that he wants to be traded. Now, this isn't a demand, it's a request. I think the Sixers have said, okay, we will try to trade you, but there is no hurry to do this. I think the Sixers understand here that they have the leverage. James has picked up his option. This is an opt-in. He's going to be a free agent, so at some point he needs to play, whether that's in Philadelphia or elsewhere. And it's a good point by Shelburne because if he wants to have any chance of cashing in one more time, he's got to play because he's on a one-year opt-in for next year. So the best situation for James Harden might just say, okay, Daryl, if you don't trade me, cool, I'll show up. I'm going to play. I'm going to do my thing. If you can't trade me, awesome. But at least showing that willingness and flexibility to play for the 76ers is, I think, a good move for Harden if he were to go that route. He can still want to get traded, but if he doesn't, don't go the Ben Simmons route and just be a guy that's not going to show up. Now, again, I've said this, I'll continue to say this. I don't think if Harden were to get traded, it would happen until after Dame gets traded. I think that's how it would play. Like, Dame is going to get traded first if both end up getting traded. So I think it would surprise all of us if Harden got traded first, because teams interested in Harden are also interested in Dame. So that's just kind of where things sit in terms of the pecking order. More to discuss on this topic, but get yourself a Real One t-shirt, chatsports.com/Real One. Whether you're living here in Dallas, which is where we're at here at the Chat Sports studio, or anywhere around the world, we can get one of these shipped to you. Chatsports.com/Real One. Pick up a t-shirt today, and if you watch our content, that makes you a real one. So appreciate everybody who has tuned into our coverage all the time, and get yourself a Real One shirt if you're a fan of what we're doing here at Chat Sports. Okay, pros and cons of James Harden. Look, I think he's done a good job of reinventing himself. His explosiveness isn't what it was, but he's become one of the best distributors in the NBA, led the league in assists last year. Good two-man game with Joel Embiid. He's always had that great pocket bounce pass in the pick and roll there. Shot the ball well last year. I mean, second best percentage from three in his career. He was huge in that Boston series in the games they did win. Now, he was bad in the games they lost, but they wouldn't have even gotten to a Game 7 without Harden. He had big-time performances in Game 1 and 4, including some late baskets, and he could still score at all three levels. Now, here's a con. He's old. How does he age? It doesn't seem like he's always committed to his body. He's not always in great shape. He's way too inconsistent, especially come playoff time. Has not proven to be a high-level championship player. Again, individual games, there were a few in that Boston series this year, but doesn't string them together, and he's lacking accountability. I know Shelburne can say this is not a demand, it's a request. The bottom line is he has now requested, at the minimum, a trade 3 times, which is a record. No other player in the history of this sport has gone public with the trade request 3 times. And now James Harden has done that, and this is a player that still wants to make a healthy contract. So, look, it's a tricky situation. I think Harden played pretty well this year, and I think he deserves credit for that. There is still something left in the tank. And look, coming into this year, that was a real question. We did not know if Harden had a lot left in the tank, and he proved this year that he definitely does have a decent amount left in the tank. Now, I'm on record saying that his best situation would be as a number 3 on a contending team. In Philadelphia, can Tyrese Maxey elevate enough where he's the clear number 2 next to Joel Embiid, and Harden's kind of he's just distributing the ball as a number 3 option? I don't think that quite took place last year, even though I like Maxey better than Harden. But could a team like the Clippers go get him and he can be their number 3 next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, go all in on this year? I think there are situations where that can exist, but not a lot of teams out there that are willing to take on James Harden and have him be their number 3 guy. Now, who gets traded first? What do you guys think? Type L for Damian Lillard or type H for James Harden? I think Dame gets moved first, and I think he will be a Miami Heat player. Harden, I think it's 50-50 on whether or not he even gets traded in the first place. So let me know what you guys think.